What's going on, drummies? It's Artie here. Now, every now and then, I love to peruse eBay or Amazon or like auction sites and look up really old marching band / drum major stuff, which is kind of a really weird hobby of mine. Every now and then when I'm perusing the internet, I do find something that really catches my eye. Now, if you follow me on my Facebook page, you may have noticed that I posted a little thing about saying that I managed to get my hands on a little piece of drum majoring history, and I was gonna post a video on it. Well, this is that video. Now, the first piece of drum majoring history that I purchased when I moved here was a drum major signal baton, which I posted on my Facebook page, and it was kind of an unnecessary purchase. This thing cost about $110, but seeing how old this thing is, and it is related to drum majoring, I had to get it. And you may have seen the picture of this, and that is the US Army drum major signal baton that I found at a thrift store. For a baton that might have seen 2 world wars, it's in pretty good shape. Now, this is a baton that I'm never going to spin or flourish at all. I kind of just have it as kind of a keepsake, a memento, because usually with stuff like this, I kind of want to treat it with respect because 1, it's super old, and 2, it might be haunted. But personally, this is something that I really enjoy having, and just kind of reminds me of the origin of an activity that I really love to do. But that baton was not part of the post that I made earlier. So, earlier, about a month ago, I was perusing eBay and I came across a military baton, which, you know, I already have a metal military baton, and really I didn't really need one. But you know what? For the price that they were selling it, you know, I might as well get it. And the starting bid was about $10, and I figured, you know what? If I won this thing for $10, I would have just scored a military baton for 1/10 the price. So I placed a bid, went to bed, woke up the next morning, found out that there had been 3 more bids on this thing. But luckily I was still the highest bidder. So I put another bid down and was watching this bid, and then a day later when the auction ended, I found out I had won this baton. And then a day later, another post went up on eBay and I saw a set of 2 drum major batons being sold for about $100. Luckily it was not an auction and it was a buy now, so I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and buy these. So now slowly these things have been trickling to my house. I wanted to wait for everything to arrive and do one big video showcasing these things with you guys. Now, the reason why I call these a little piece of drum majoring history is because you can kind of see how the equipment has evolved over time. You can see what drum majors used back in the day and compared to what they use now, and you can see the difference in everything. The first item I want to share with you guys is a baton that I got into kind of the bidding war with. So on the website, on the original listing, it showed that it was just a drum major baton, and it was a standard military metal baton, you know, just like the one that you always see on parade all the time. Like, this is my Peacock American baton. And I mean, it looked exactly like it. So when it arrived, I just noticed that, you know, the cords were just really badly wrapped. So I unwrapped the cords and I rewrapped it. Then I noticed there was a little inscription on the shaft of the baton. That's when I found out that I purchased a Ken Chrome baton. Now, Ken Chrome was a baton company around the 1970s. They produced primarily twirling batons and majorette batons, but they also made 2 types of batons. They made the military signal baton, and they made what was known as the field baton. Back in the day, if you were there were 2 types of drum majors. You had the mace drum major, and then you had the military drum major. And the military drum major typically had 2 types of batons for 2 specific purposes. You had the military signal baton, and then you had these batons which were known as field batons. Later on down the line, the term military baton now has become synonymous with this piece of equipment. But this baton actually was the first one. I guess you could say that this baton was actually the first one that came out, and a lot of people on the forums actually love the Ken Chrome baton. And mostly band directors talk about Ken Chrome, saying that this baton was like the one that they used in high school when they were drum majors. Now, the interesting thing about the Ken Chrome baton is the overall construction, because, you know, you don't really see this type of construction on a military baton anymore, or a field baton anymore. First of all, the overall construction of the baton is very different than what you would notice today. The shaft is actually comprised of 2 parts. You have the metal shaft, and then you have the ferrule. If you can see there, you can see the line between the ferrule and the shaft. because the shaft and the ferrule were two separate parts. Another interesting thing is that the shaft, I believe, is hollow. One complaint many drum majors had about the Ken Chrome Baton was that the nickel plating on the shaft was known to chip off. As you can see here, you can see the nickel plating coming off of the shaft. And that was one complaint that many drum majors had with this baton. I've also known that one of the complaints about this baton was that the shaft was known to bend, which is very common in hollow shaft batons. Either the shaft was known to bend or the shaft was known to dent. And then came along Tom Peacock, who took the Ken Chrome Baton and then kind of redesigned it to the basic design of what we see today. This is a Tom Peacock Marching World American baton, and you can see that the overall construction is very similar. The one thing that you would see on a Tom Peacock American baton is that the shaft is actually one piece of metal, which eliminates the whole chipping of the nickel plating from the shaft. So that's pretty much the Ken Chrome Baton. As you can see, you can see kind of like, you know, the ancestor of the American baton. And then a week later, after that baton showed up, the next set of batons showed up at my front door. Now the first of the set that I want to showcase is actually kind of, I guess you could say it's the ancestor to one of the batons that I showcased earlier in my channel, and that is the gray baton. So as you remember, this is the gray baton that I showcased earlier in my channel, which is used by a lot of the Big Ten bands, most notably Ohio State. So here is the baton that I purchased from eBay. Now I don't know who made this baton. As you can see, compared to a gray baton, it's actually very similar. The head is made of metal, the head is made of steel, and the overall length is exactly the same. The one thing I do like to point out is that the shaft is actually hollow. As you can see, that there is some denting in the shaft there, which shows that this baton is actually a hollow shaft metal baton. And if I can showcase there, if I can show you there, you can see that the baton is slightly bent. As you can see, the baton is actually, yeah. As you can see right there, the baton is actually slightly bent. And I can see why the great company made this baton, because the Ohio State drum majors needed a baton that can actually meet the demands of their performance. And I can see that this kind of baton probably didn't, because they needed a baton that could actually survive a high toss. So let's see what we got here. So this baton, you can see actually, I'm not sure if you can see right there, but there's a little tiny bit of the original nickel plating left. The entire head is just completely just dull steel now. But I mean, this is something that I really like to have in my collection, just as kind of a way to see like, oh, this, like, you know, here's the ancestor to this baton. Now in the last set of batons, I actually have, this is another baton that I'm never going to spin. This baton was, according to the listing, was used by a drum major in the 1930s. So this baton is around 80 years old. And the baton I have right here is called a Batons baton. And that baton is right here. And this baton is pretty interesting because holding the baton in the beating time position, it actually feels very well balanced. I mean, this baton was made to be held in the beating time position, and I'm just really impressed with it. Now I'm probably never going to spin this baton, and for an 80-year-old baton, it's in really great shape. I mean, you can see that there is some bending in the shaft and everything, there's dents in the shaft, but I mean, for a baton dating back to the 1930s, this thing is amazing. Now I tried to do some research on the Batons company, trying to Google images of anything made by Batons, but I can't find anything, and I'm pretty sure this company doesn't even exist anymore. But I mean, this is something that I'm really happy to have in my collection, and you know, just the fact that the drum major who had it before me took really good care of it. There's maybe minuscule dents in it. It's not really badly damaged, but you can see that this thing is just really awesome just to have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Other than drum majoring, I really do enjoy collecting old memorabilia from marching bands from the past. I love seeing how marching bands evolved over the years and seeing the different trends in drum majors, and it's just something that I wanted to share with you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, leave me a like, leave me a comment, let me know what you guys thought about this video. If you guys want to get in touch with me, I'm at ArtyMacDM on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And as always guys, keep marching and keep flourishing. I'll catch you guys later.